Hello and welcome to Reginaldesq. I'm Unhook and this is Armoured Warfare. The game has just gone live on Steam. They've released a new patch, so I thought I would have a quick look at the patch and also at the same time have a quick little talk about or give this tank a spin. It's the Tier 10 tank destroyer, the T-15 HIFV. It has 4 guided missile tubes plus a 30mm autocannon, so we'll talk about that during some gameplay. For starters, let's talk about the patch. Obviously, they keep on simplifying the UI. Well, for PC users, of course, the UI is more complicated than it used to be and harder to use than it used to be. But they're simplifying it for console users and mobile users. So that's where they're, I think, targeting the game now. Trying to get the PlayStation 4 market because World of Tanks doesn't really have that market and they have failed in the PC market. So it makes sense for them to do that. So the UI is kind of, yeah, worse than before, but that's how it is. Very grey looking. The one thing they have changed are the dealers now. So you've got your Chinese dealer here who has, well, you can see what he's got there. If you can see it, it's pretty dark and dingy. It's the way they do the UI now. This is Shishkin, so that's what he's got. I've got lots of Shishkin tanks. And then we've got Wolfie, who I don't have any of Wolfie's tanks except that XM1, which used to be a normal tank but it's now a premium. That's why I've got it. And let's go back then. Oh, barracks. So the commanders have changed a little bit. They've changed the way skills work. So you can see now these red bars. I've got I'm 83% to reaching the next level. So they normally used to have 5 levels, but now they've got these extra levels you can get. And this guy I'm 66%. So if we click on Sabrina Washington here, I think I can click. Yeah, you can see her skills there, which they've kind of divided up. They've broken the skills down. Like this was a camouflage skill, I think. So I've got increased spotting range, increased camo, and visibility through foliage. I can see better. So they seem to be a section of 4. This is a section of 4. This is a section of 4. So it's like the skills are broken down into 3 or 4 little factors. I think it allows them to tweak the skills a little bit more. And then I've got this big one in the middle, which module damage improved by 38.81%. Next rank is 40. So I think that's the thing of, if I get lots of XP, which takes a long time, I get to the next rank with Sabrina and I get another 2% in my core skill here, which isn't a big deal, which is kind of good because you don't want to have, you know, people getting OP skills. So that seems okay. So far as the patch goes here, that's there's been minor changes to some damage of different guns and armor and stuff like that. They've tried to rebalance some tanks. I think the Leopard, the Tier 10 Leopard, which they completely stuffed up. It was a great tank and they made it really poor armor, underpowered. I think they've tried to fix it up a little bit in this patch and stuff like that. But anyway, let's get into some gameplay and see if the game plays any differently or not, and have a look at this tank and see if it's any good. Alright, so first off, we're just going to see if we can get into a PvP match, and you can see here it is myself and one person at Tier 6. I'm using the PLO because I'm not confident with the T-15 in PvP. So there's one other person waiting for PvE. So let's try Global Ops, which is the mixture of PvP, PvE, which is quite a good concept. I quite like it. And it's just me. It's 7:30 PM on a Wednesday night, but I am in Australia and I'm playing on the NA server. So it's not prime time in North America. So maybe prime time North America, some people are playing, but they're not playing outside of prime time, that's for sure. So let's try PvE now. We will use the T-15 now because PvE, I'm fine with it now. There's how many people? 8? Not that many people in the queue. 9 now, I think it says. 10. We've got 10 people in the queue. So it looks like they're probably, with PvE, you usually get, like, there might be a couple of games already running. And so as people come out of those games, more come in the queue. But we've got 5 at Tier 10, 3 at Tier 9, 1 at Tier 8, 1 at Tier 7. And it's one poor player waiting at Tier 1. What's going to happen to them? Boy. Just checking my graphics settings here. As you can see, I've got everything set to maximum. And I'm just checking because I've just reinstalled the new patch and everything. I want to make sure it's all set to maximum because I watched a quick review of this patch from NTAC. He obviously had a press account, but I noticed his graphics looked kind of bad. and I wondered whether they had done something to the graphics. So I just wanted to check I was on maximum before we go in to make sure, yeah, that's all okay. In the garage here, the detail on the tanks and the graphics is very good. It's just very dark because they've set it up for, I don't know why they've made it so dark, but anyway. So here we go. So we're going to a game now with 4 tier 10s and a tier 9 on our team. We have the Challenger, fantastically armoured tank, and I think they've buffed the gun recently because it didn't have a very good gun. The Leopard, which I think they've buffed the armour because it had a great gun but terrible armour. There's us. Then there's this Wilk XC8 thing. I don't know what that is. And the Terminator 2 is the one, I think it's the one you get before this tank. It's the tier 9 version. So it has 4 missile tubes and a multi-cannon and is well armoured for its tier. So the tank that we're driving now, the T-15, yet we've got 4 missile tubes. They take a while to reload, and then you just use your auto cannon while they're reloading and then switch back again. That's what we'll be doing. You see I've got number 1 there. I've got my normal multi-cannon rounds, and number 2 I've got HE multi-cannon rounds, and number 3 I've got missiles, which is a heat missile. You can also have HESH missiles on this tank, and I'll tell you a little bit about them. Unfortunately, we've got a basically late afternoon or early morning map, so it's quite dark, which is going to make it a little bit hard to sort of say what the graphics are like. Apologies for that, but I've got to take what they give me. Somebody's turned the headlights on, I've turned mine on, and I can tell you that the headlights are a lot better than they used to be. They give off a lot more light than they used to, which is kind of nice. Now this is a recording that I've done, and I'm talking over the recording. So, because I played this, like I said, Wednesday night, and it's actually Friday now because I was actually just waiting till everyone was out of the house because I make too much noise when we record. And I fire a missile and it hits my teammate in the back. It doesn't do any damage to him though, luckily. See if we can get the side of this guy, and you can see none of our missiles did any damage at all. And you've really, it's mainly because they've got like all this ERA and anti-heat armor and stuff, so you've got to pick the right spot. Normally you've got to hit the sort of the back third of a tank. Here we go, multi-cannon is penetrating here because we've got the side of the turret, which is a bit weak. What they have done in this game is made the rear sides of a lot of the tanks and the sides of the turrets and the rear of a lot of the tanks vulnerable to multi-cannons, and it's to give light tanks and AFVs a chance to actually pen them, because earlier in the game when the balance wasn't very good, you couldn't penetrate at all. It was pretty much useless. So we get a missile shot into the back side of that guy there, put another one into him, and you can see we're doing massive damage, almost 800 damage with that missile. We finish him off, put another one into the tier 10 light tank, the PLO1 there, and that goes in as well. Multi-cannon though, we can't even penetrate the side of the PLO1. It's actually, the PLO1 is actually tougher than a lot of heavy tanks, in my opinion, because its side armor is just radically good. So in front of us there is a mine, and we've got to destroy those mines. Usually what happens is you kill the tanks off, then you destroy the mines. There's 4 mines that have to be destroyed. I'm just testing out the multi-cannon here to see where we can and can't penetrate. So that multi-cannon is 155mm of pen and does an average 50 damage per shot. The amazing thing is though, it has 1200 rounds in the magazine, so you can just shoot it all day. If you use the HE rounds, it only has 10mm of pen, and if you don't pen, it does from between 4 and 50 points of damage. If you do pen, it does 61 to 75, but you're hardly ever going to penny one with only 10 mils of penetration. It is a little bit more complicated HE ammunition than that, but that's just a basic overview. With the missiles though, the missiles I'm using has 1200mm of penetration, and does an average damage of around about 790. Now, it's a little more complicated than that as well. In this game, not only does the angle of the armor matter, but it's the type of armor matters as well, and how, whether it's got ERA modules or not, whether it's composite armor or just steel armor. It's very complicated, but anyway, we've got the lower plate of the PLO1 there, and that was a bit flat onto us, and we managed to get through it there. We penetrate that guy with setting on fire, which is very nice. I switched to the multi-cannon to finish him off, but I don't think I needed to. And that is a good thing in this tank. You can use your multi-cannon while your missiles are loading, because they take quite a while to load the 4 missiles up. Now, if you use the HESH missiles, they only have 200mm of pen, but a bit like HE, they still do damage even if you don't pen. But if you do they do between 147 and 715 damage if you don't pen. If you do pen, they do similar damage to the normal missiles. I actually don't see any point really in using the HESH, but it's there if you want to use it. I'm now destroying the mine, and you can see, if you saw on the right hand side, you would have seen that yellow bar ticking down, and we've just destroyed mine number 4. No, mine number 3. So I've still got to kill, destroy mine number 2 and the other mine now. I've got my missile tubes loaded, I've got the rear side, and I'm just spamming missiles into the guy. And there you can clearly see the power of this tank with loaded missile tubes. You can actually just destroy a tank completely in a matter of seconds. And considering the frontal armor on this thing is so good, if you catch someone side on like that, they are just dead. And I think that's where people who are good with this tank in PvP just catch you offside like that and just obliterate you. So you can be very powerful in PvP, but I found the couple of games I played this Global Ops after the last patch, I found I actually got wrecked by people who knew where to hit the tank. So I'm not confident taking into PvP. I think it can be good, but you've really got to know what you're doing, and I clearly don't. And here I'm demonstrating that I don't know anything. This, I thought, oh, I've got to destroy this, but in actual fact, it's a secondary module, or secondary objective. It's a rare earth sample. You've got to capture them. And I didn't see, there is actually a capture ring, which you can faintly see there now. I didn't see it. And I thought the yellow bar going down on the right there, which is somebody else actually destroying a mine, I thought it was this thing going down. Then I realised, hang on a second, there's a ring around it. And I realised how I was quite embarrassed that I actually had to capture it like that instead. So, yes, I haven't played for a while, and I'm pretty rusty. I don't actually remember those rare samples being on this map, so either I've just never bothered to capture them before, or somebody else has always captured them, or they're new, I don't know. But that secondary objectives are really worth doing in PvE, because they give you a lot of XP, you get a lot of extra XP for doing them. So anyway, I'm an idiot. So you can see the tank, we're doing 73 kilometers an hour, and this is a dirt road undulating, so it is actually very quick for a huge tank. It really motors along. So the armor on this tank is maximum speed is 80 kilometers an hour. Does 0 to 32 in 3.42. It has a track traverse of 40 and a turret traverse of 46, which is pretty awesome. It's an unmanned turret, so I don't know if they've changed it recently, but typically unmanned turrets only take half damage when they hit, and the turret itself is quite small. So whilst it has 540 mils of armor on the front, which is incredibly heavily sloped and is composite armor and has ERA modules all over it, it only has 100 mils on the side and 42 on the rear. Although, like I say, it is pretty good armor even though it's thin on the sides. The turret has 325 on the front, 120 on the sides and 80 on the rear. So, really well armored tank, and we haven't even taken any damage yet. Sometimes you'll see me like this. I can see a white area there. I'm just testing out the gun. Now you can see blue, dark blue means can't hit, light blue means I might pen, and white means I can pen. Because I've got my game set up in colorblind mode because I have trouble reading fine red text. And if I go colorblind mode, what's normally red text becomes blue and I can read it. That's what happens when you get old, guys. Anyway, so I can still see the colour red fine. I'm not colorblind at all, but I can't read fine red text. That's just because my eyes aren't what they were when I was young. Younger. I'm still young, just not as young as I used to be. Alright? Don't forget it. Now, let's see if we can get shots into these guys. PLO1, and I hit the rock. I should have probably looked up and made the missile go up before I shot again. That one goes into him though. And I'm not going to bother now. I'm just going to go up to this final area here. From recollection, we capture this area, and that gives us the game. You can hear somebody else firing missiles there. And it looks like the Terminator, the Challenger, and myself up here. It looks like the other two tanks have died, actually. So the Leopard and that Wilkie thing are dead. I fire at the Pillow one, but my teammate pulls in front of me and actually takes the shot. But it doesn't even pen him. That's how tough that Challenger is. Getting some cannon shots from the side of this guy, and this Thunderbolt actually penetrates me. I have found, we do a bit of random damage too, I have found that in this game that the Thunderbolt and the M8 tanks, the light tanks are actually medium tanks, are very, very powerful because they're just so accurate. So this guy, I'm just going to test out the multi-cannon on him. I fired a missile at him, but it actually hit the Thunderbolt in front of me and killed it. Because that missiles tend to launch forward before they curve around, and it hit him. So you can see we're capturing this point here. I'm not that fussed whether I captured it or not. I just want to get some more shots in if I can. Here we go. I fire a missile and I don't really curve it around enough. I should have tried to curve it more. Get that one into him, no. That one, his armor eats it, and we get that one into him. And I'm out of missiles. So unfortunately this map was a bit dark and you can't really tell if the graphics are fantastic or not, but it doesn't look any worse than it used to as far as I can see. I think the frame rate may have dropped a little bit, but I think that's because we're using headlights. I'm not sure. Although a frame rate isn't bad, I don't think. Some of the jerkiness you're seeing is actually due to, I think, my recording software. I just noticed a couple of jerks there. I think it was pretty smooth when I actually played the game. Victory! Yay! So the tank has 3,150 hit points. I didn't tell you that. Yeah, it's just a really well armoured. It's a beast in PvE, but it's a little bit more vulnerable in PvP. As you can see, I've just got the standard account. I haven't bothered with premium because I just can't get a PvP game. But 12,000 XP and 108,000 credits is really good anyway. They're virtually giving it away at the moment simply because they want people to play. Unfortunately, it's just not working. I'm trying to find out where I look at the team results. I just found it up the top there. And you can see we came second for damage with 16,400. We came second on spotting damage as well, and third on XP though. So we finished third on the list. And we got the most kills with 10 kills. The next best was the Challenger 2 with 7 kills. And he got the most damage. So I'm saying that the Challenger, looks like the buff to the gun was effective. Because normally Challengers were always down the list on damage. But he's right up the list. And you can see with 23 spots, he's been at the front in the action the whole game. So the armor looks like it still works. And the gun has been improved. The Leopard, though, looks like its armor still might not be that good. Unless the guy just wasn't a very good player. And the gun seems to have done okay, though, still. So there's some detailed stats if interested. We fired a lot of shots. Mitigated damage caused 10,000. So I think we bounced 10,000 off people, even though we did 16,000 damage. How much did we bounce? Does it say anywhere? No, it doesn't say how much we bounced. I couldn't see it anywhere. Oh wow, it looks good with the snow camouflage, doesn't it? That looks grouse. The camo system in this game is really good because you can choose your base coat. Like for snow like this, you can pick like a white, an off-white, and then like a dark grey. And then when you put the other camo patterns on top of it, it still keeps it as the base coat. So, and the underneath coats, the base coats are free. It's only when you put the coat on top that you've got to pay some gold. That's the PLO one with it. Looks wicked. Oh, I haven't got camo on these ones. Just let's have a look at a few tanks. Oh, that's a standard base coat. So that doesn't cost any money. You can just do that. And that's a grey base coat. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please